Hello, my name is Eric Peterson, and this is my wife Mandy and our daughter Taya Grace. We adopted her last year, May 20th she was born, and on May 21st we picked her up from the hospital in Kalispell. We were actually scheduled to have a family over that evening for dinner, and Mandy was planning on going to Dickey Lake Bible Camp the next day for a women's retreat. And we got this phone call that a young lady had given birth and she wanted to place her baby for adoption. And my heart just started racing, and I remember calling Mandy and saying, "You're not going to believe what just happened," and I just got a phone call and she kind of broke down. And I just remember holding this little baby girl in my arms and thinking, could this little girl be ours? And God worked in mysterious ways, and here we are a year and a half later.
We had talked about adoption from the time we were first dating, and we had always decided that was something that we would be interested in as a couple.
I think one of the motivations for adopting was just reading the scriptures and seeing that God had adopted us when we didn't deserve to be adopted by Him. And there's a passage in James that says that pure religion is to look after widows and orphans in their distress. And when we were filling out the paperwork, there's all these questions like, will you take a baby with fetal alcohol syndrome, or will you take a baby that's come from a meth home, or whatnot. And I was filling that out, and I was just very grateful that God didn't have a checklist for me and what kind of person I would have to be for Him to adopt. And so we were pretty open, I think, filling out those forms. We basically just said, hey, we want to be open to whoever God brings into our life. I think one of my fears, well, the financial thing was one of them. There is a cost to it, and it was just neat to see how God provided every step of the way.
Well, I think for me, one of the fears was, after having 3 biological children, how would I love an adoptive child? Would that be the same love? Would there be that separation? And we arrived at the hospital, and I remember the moment I held her in my arms. I just knew that I loved her exactly the same as all my other kids when they were newborns.
We decided to name this little girl here Taya Grace. And Taya in Portuguese is a web, and her middle name is Grace. And the road to adopting can be a long one, and it's kind of a roller coaster, a lot of ups and downs, but it was neat to see how, like a spider web, God wove everything together to form this beautiful design and beautiful picture, and then Grace, just something that we don't deserve. And Taya is definitely this little present or gift from God that we don't deserve. Taya is very joyful. She's very optimistic. She doesn't complain or grumble much.
She loves to eat.
She loves to eat. She doesn't say many words, but what she does say, she says "dada," which I think she said first, right, Mandy?
I'll keep rubbing it in, yes.
So I think that was her first word, was "dada," and I just keep thinking of that passage in Romans where it says that He hasn't given us a spirit of fear, but this spirit of sonship by which we can say Abba, Father, and Abba is this Aramaic word which means dada. And it's just incredible that we can call God Dada, and it's like this word of intimate knowledge and care. And it's interesting because I thought that we would just be like this huge blessing to Taya, but it's actually been, I think, the other way around. I mean, she's taught us so much about the Lord, and she's taught us a lot about ourselves and about what God did for us. I guess I would just encourage anyone that is thinking about adoption to pray about it, and if God opens that door, to walk through it.